Is your autistic or a special needs child getting frustrated with lessons and homework? Do assignments seem to take a lot more time than they should? Join us tonight as we discuss how to help your child deal with his or her frustrations during school. Welcome to my Spectrum Life podcast. My name is Jessica, and even though I said it was tonight, I know you guys may be listening to this at a different time of the day, so welcome whatever time of day you have a chance to listen to this. We just go live on Monday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern, p.m. that is, not a.m. I would not be awake at a.m. Would not work for me. Anyway, I'm an autism mom, and with me is my good friend and co-host, Kelsey.
Hey there. I'm so excited that you guys are joining us. I'm excited to be here. I will tell you, this is my favorite part of the night. I am Kelsey, and I'm a registered behavior technician and a special education teacher. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to deal with frustration for your kids, not us.
Nope. Oh, man.
Gotcha. Just kidding.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, frustrations can be, well, today's been a frustrating day here at my house. We were just overwhelmed with tests and math and different things. Math is our nemesis this year for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know why, but it is our nemesis this year. But there's so many things that we're dealing with right now as we're doing virtual school, especially as many of the schools are doing virtual, even if you're in a public school and you usually meet in person. So we want to talk about those frustrations. And one of the first things that we have to deal with is the thing that we love to hate or hate to love. I don't know. That would be Wi-Fi and technical issues. That is a huge one. For my kids, we have to deal with, whether or not, we have Xfinity, whether or not they decide to do an upgrade on the system in the middle of the day when they're trying to do a live lesson or something like that. There's many, many reasons why your Wi-Fi can go out, or you can have technical reasons with the portal that you're on. Ours sometimes will go down for the virtual school that we go to. The portal itself will go down. The system will have some issues. And so they get really frustrated. And if it gets too bad, we all try to remain calm in those situations, but if it gets too bad, I tell my kids to go to their room for a minute and let me check it out. Right. Just because I don't want them to get so overwhelmed that they can't come back to the work for the day,
Right.
And we can always, I don't know about you, but teachers at my school, they are totally fine if there's a Wi-Fi connection issue or, internet connection issue. You just email them and they're like, yeah, cool. Just, check out the recorded lesson. Thanks for telling me.
That's how we are here at the school too. Yep.
I'm pretty sure most schools are going to be that way because it's not something we can control.
No, it's not. And it's not the child's fault. And as a teacher, I really try to make sure I'm not penalizing them for something that's out of their control.
Right. Some of the basic things that we can do as parents is, always remember, reset your router, reset your computer, jump out of the program, come back on. That's when that's the first things that my kids know that they need to do, especially if they're in their live lesson portal. It's like jump off and jump back on and see if it resets it. A lot of times it's just that simple, but don't interrupt the teacher. The teacher will catch you up. All is well. It's cool.
Well. It is all is cool.
So we can chill with that.
It is. And it really is important for you not to interrupt the teacher when you guys come back in. I have a lot of kids who bounce in, bounce out because their Wi-Fi is not working, and they reach out to me via text and they're like, hey, Miss K, it's not working. Not a big deal. Sign on when you can. Remember, there's a recorded lesson, as you said, and I'll catch you up. And a lot of times teachers are really good at saying, all right, remember guys, this is what we're doing. And so it's not only to give a reminder to those who are on, but also the ones who have joined late or something
Right.
happens. And we all try to keep you on the same page. That's what we went to school for. So,
Yeah.
but I'm just kidding.
even
But
even though it's different, not, turning around and saying, okay,
right,
Johnny and Billy, quit talking and pay attention. Um,
right, right. Hey, I'm liking these mute buttons. I'm not gonna lie. It is bad. I can
I
actually
know.
teach. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, okay, so that's something. If there are times as a parent or a teacher you'd like to have a mute button, let us know. Hit a like button.
Nice.
Or, because sometimes,
Right.
yes, even if it isn't, even without school, there are times when my son is just going when he's really stressed, sometimes he just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. And it's like,
Right.
mute, mute, mute. But it's not there. So he just learned to turn it out.
You did.
So another question we have for you. Do you happen to know your technical support number for your school? We have an 800 number for our system, and I know where to find it. Do you guys, for public school, that are usually meeting, do you guys have a number for?
We do, and it's brand new. So for the district that I work in, they have a specific district student number for technology issues, and then we have one for us teachers, 2 separate lines, and then they have an email as well. And
That's awesome.
they turn around, they answer pretty well, and then next thing you know, my kid's online because they can remotely go into their computer and do what they need to do.
Yeah, that actually was something we used to use back in the day when my mom was having problems with her computer.
It's still around. It's still around.
Yay! Oh, goodness.
They just need to give that control to teachers.
Yes.
Just saying.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, let us know if you have, if you know your technical support number. And if you don't, a great idea would be to print that number out and like laminate it or pin it up somewhere so you know how to access it really quickly.
Exactly.
So make sure you know that technical number. But then the next one is, and this is a good thing for you to talk about. Seems how you're the teacher here.
It is. So not only do we have Wi-Fi issues, sometimes we have trouble submitting work, especially if you are not used to submitting work online. That's a whole new technology question. Like some of them have never even seen how to do it. Like I didn't get taught how to attach something to an email until I got to high school, college.
Yeah.
And you're expecting elementary students to do this in middle school. And that's rough. And that's frustrating in itself because now not only like, I did this work, I just want to turn it in. What do you mean it's not working?
Yeah.
And the kid's like, dude, I can't do this. Let me just. Yeah. So what ultimately, if you're struggling with the technology or you're not technology savvy, please ask your teacher for a cheat sheet document. The teacher will, I know for the district that I work in, if you don't have access to an email or printer, we'll send it to you by bus when they drop off your lunches. We can email it to you. It is pretty cool. Or we can turn around and send it to your iPhone. So you always have reference. I know some of my teachers and the district have made it to where you have picture icons with it. So they put the arrows with it and everything like that. So not only is it a listed directions, but it's a picture directions. And it has helped tremendously because we're still learning it as well. It's not just your child, it's us as well.
Yeah.
Most importantly, which I'll be honest, it's hard not to stress about. Don't stress over if you can't submit it, right?
Yeah. And like in my system that I'm working in as the learning coach, we actually have to use Dropbox.
Okay.
But Dropbox is within the lesson itself. And so you just click on a link and it tells you what to upload, and you have to upload the button and you have to search your desktop to find it and stuff like that. So my kids have gotten a lot more tech savvy and figuring out how to put things in folders so they can find it in the folder and attach it to the file. But the one thing that I found is as the learning coach, you actually have the option yourself to submit. So
Correct.
parents, it's okay if you take the assignment and submit it for your kiddo and say, hey, my child couldn't get this to go through, so I'm sending it.
To
And
you.
sometimes, yeah, and sometimes even if the Dropbox link doesn't work for me, I'll send it by email to the teachers, and they're totally fine with it.
I'm totally fine. I tell my kids sometimes, like, if you're having trouble and you know how to send an email, or we use Canvas, and some of
Mm-hmm.
us use Seesaw. If you're
Mm-hmm.
having trouble, just upload it in either or, and if you can't, send it to me and I'll help you. Or hey, share your screen. Let's schedule best bet. Set up a one-on-one time. I've
Oh yeah.
have a couple tutoring times just to have them. I've taught them how to share their screen with me. I can see what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing, and I'm like, nope, nope, it's this button, and then it's this one, and then it's this one, and I'll walk it through. And I have no problem in doing that
Yeah.
because now they're submitting it online. They feel comfortable and they're not stressed out, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
asking their parents who are not technology savvy either.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not getting the stress from there. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you saved me from an argument with my parent. You know how teenagers are. But,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, and there's like the system that for us with Connections Academy in our system, our teachers are actually using a free website called Book Me.
okay.
And that's how we submit to get a one-on-one with our teacher, whether it's a phone call or, in the live lesson room, depending on what they need to do. But that's how we figure it out. And we have, because it's, a virtual school that's been around a while,
Right.
we have a specific part called that's like a learning coach central. And they
Right.
have made videos that show us how to do all these
That's
things.
cool. That is
Yeah.
so
So
cool.
it's really nice. I have seen them a
Out of
bajillion
video.
times now. So every year when it comes through, I'm thankful that as a returning coach, I don't have to go through everything over and over again.
Right.
But you get used to it, as the year goes on. You will get used to it, and hopefully for a lot of people, y'all be able to return to the classroom, and this whole virtual frustration will go away, and unfortunately it will probably be replaced by a different type of frustration.
Right.
Because it won't be virtual anymore.
Right.
But right now, since it is, a lot of places have the virtual school, we thought we'd just talk about some of these kinds of things. So we have a question.
Yes.
Do you know how to contact your teacher for a one-on-one session? I know I know how to access the different phone numbers and emails for my kiddos for their teachers, but do you guys know? Drop us a line and let us know if you have that covered. We'd like to hear, info at My Spectrum Life. You can answer any of your questions that way, or you can even ask us some of the questions you might have, because since I have done virtual online this is my 4th year, and
wow.
you're a teacher.
My first year.
Yeah, but you did the other side of virtual with me when you're helping Curtis.
I
So
did.
you've got both sides of this. Yeah, we'd love to help you out, and always, tag us on Facebook and Instagram at My Spectrum Life if you have a question. Anytime you take a picture of like your learning area or your setup with your numbers and all your access codes and things like that. Of course, don't give us your access codes, but my cheat sheet kind of a thing. And Twitter, we're at My Spectrum Life 1. So the next thing that can sometimes, oh boy, I have actually come across this with not this goes for neurotypical and neuroatypical. This is like all across the board.
Right.
Homework is taking way too long.
The dreaded assignments after being on the computer all day to follow up with the homework.
Yes. Or in my instance, so ours is like it's an assignment and you have to go through slides. And remember the lesson things, and they had to go through and sometimes my son would come to his nemesis goes between math and language arts. Okay. And there were some of those language arts that were like 10 slides long. and he'd open up the lesson and he would almost have a meltdown because some of
Right.
the beginning lessons for the unit were in elementary school were much longer
Much longer, right.
because you were supposed to read a story and then you had to go over your vocab
I
words and then
remember
you had
that.
to practice spelling and then you had to do this and then you had to do that. And some of the things were only like 3 sentences. Think about
Right.
this. Then you could go on. And so I had to constantly remind him of that.
Right.
So it's totally okay if they come up on something and it seems like too overwhelming to calmly talk them through that, because that's one of the things that I found myself doing a lot with Curtis. Hey, remember, some of these slides are really short, and he does that this year too. He'll open up his planner, and instead of, they used to have everything for the lesson, including what they call a quick check, which is basically like the, short homework assignments that you don't necessarily truly, that kind of count for a little portion of the grade, but not a whole
Right.
bunch. But they let you as a teacher know that, okay, we're struggling on this concept or not. So you
Right.
know where to give them the help. Well, what they did is, because they're transitioning some stuff, there'll be a lesson and then it'll look like another lesson, but it's a quick check. And so it
Oh,
looks like he
instead of
has,
all in 20, like multiple instead of just
yes.
one.
So
Right.
if he has, so we do a block schedule because we're allowed to
Okay.
do that block schedule. So
Okay.
like science and language arts do this for us this year. And so it looks like when he opens up, Monday and Tuesday look obnoxious because there's, for 5 lessons, because usually you do language arts. Well, he has, I guess it's science and language arts.
Right.
Um, anyway, it looks obnoxious because for language arts, of course, you do 5 lessons for the week. And so
Right.
it looks like you have 10 lessons.
Instead of
And
5.
yeah,
Right.
and it's like almost every single week since we've gone to the block schedule, we'll see how we go tomorrow. But he gets really frustrated. And the first thing he does is look at the mom, I can't do this many lessons in a day. And just starts, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Remember, that quick check is
Right.
one slide.
So you're
It's,
talking him through it is what
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah. I'm talking him through it, helping and being calm about it, even though I do it every week and sometimes every day. It seems.
Sometimes every hour.
Moms, I get it. Yes, every hour, every minute, I get it. We have to remind him a bajillion times, and it can get
Yep.
frustrating
Okay.
day after day after day. But we got to remain calm, even though,
Right.
later go vent in the closet or something.
Yep.
But I have found that the more that I remain calm, the easier it is for him to remain calm.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when it seems like it's getting too tough, even if your child isn't special needs or autistic, give them a brain break, give them a sensory break. Let's say, look at the slides, look ahead, see how much they have to do and say, okay, do 3 problems and then go take a 5-minute break and then come back.
So you're segmenting the schedule as well, like a mini schedule.
Yeah. And sometimes,
like that.
the great thing that I like with math, I took a page out of yearbook. Remember how we got to some of those times where it was like you were doing repetitious problems and you were doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
You knew they knew it.
Yes.
Nikki came to me today. She was frustrated. She's like, Mom, I can't do all these problems. I said, give me your book and go do such and such and come back. And while she was out, I circled like, 10 problems out of the 16 for her to do. Because if she could get those right and we could go back and correct them, if we kept getting something wrong, then we could do extra problems.
Exactly.
But it didn't overwhelm her. Because she really gets frustrated with math and some of the concepts. And so I'm trying to also find some different ways to help her with that.
Right. Sometimes less is more. Yep.
And sometimes you really don't need to do 50 bajillion problems about rounding if you've got it.
Right.
I know. There's some things that it's like, Mom, I know how to do this. Okay. then do the quick check, you know?
Right.
And that's one of the things is as a learning coach, for you, it's different for your school because you tell the kids, okay, you have to do X, Y, and Z.
Yes and no. I did the same thing that you were telling me about with my kiddos. I turn around, all right, guys, if you have this, do numbers 1 through 3. And if you get them correct, don't do numbers 5 through 7. If you notice that you're struggling with one, go ahead and do the other couple problems. Because what you're doing is with the homework, even through the frustration, you're ultimately teaching them how to self-assess. And that's a big component in this world. And so, yeah, I still use the same.
Yeah, and actually, you're also rewarding them too.
Correct.
If they got those 3 right, then you don't have to do the rest of it.
Exactly. And so it eliminates some of that frustration in homework as well. And eliminates some of that time with homework.
Yeah.
Because you've been in with me all day. Like, I don't want to sit there and make you do it again and you be burnt out by the end of the week.
Yeah. Well, and if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, I mean, I don't know about you, but I really hated doing like pages and pages and pages of long division. Oh, yeah. That was the worst. Long division and theorems for math.
Yeah. There's a reason I didn't pass geometry. Why am I proving something that's a theory?
Yeah.
It's already been proven. Yeah. Anyways, we're not going to get there. So you have already said take a brain break. You said come back to it. And you've also said segment your homework, meaning talk about like with the brain breaks. Is that what you're talking about with segment?
Well, the other thing that you can do that I've done is, and I've learned to do because I didn't do this at the beginning, but you know how you as teachers in the classroom, you'll say, okay, you have this big project coming up.
Right.
Here is what you're going to have to do for this project. You need to kind of spread it out.
Right.
I was kind of looking for things like that to happen, but then it would be like, oh, the portfolio's due tomorrow. And it's a huge project. What are we going to do? Yeah. I didn't like staying up till midnight sculpting clay figures and painting them and things for English projects. It didn't work.
No.
So what I've learned to do is for my program, I look ahead and look at various portfolios, especially on the subjects that are the most difficult for my kiddos. For Curtis, language arts. That is, that's even worse than math for him. Math portfolios or projects, longer projects, aren't too difficult because it's just filling out a worksheet. It takes a couple of days. So I don't really worry about that one. But like big essays, for sure. Let's see, I think it was our 5th grade year. So a couple years ago, our 5th grade teacher, and that's when you were still helping Curtis at home. The 5th grade teacher had that paragraph of the week, or she had given us, had bought a license from Teachers Pay Teachers for this packet. You can search for it there, and it is great to use. There is essay of the month, and there's paragraph of the week. And so we were able to access those, and I downloaded them. As a teacher, as a student in her classroom, we had the right to do that because they let us do that. And as a teacher, you can buy licenses for your classroom for your students.
Right.
But I have kept those because what this other teacher had done and it's great in this paragraph, she takes like various different things, gives you like an informative essay, an explanatory essay, my best day of the summer or something like that.
Right.
She breaks it down for you and helps you understand what type of essay it is. Okay, so let's brainstorm our ideas. And you have a page and you can brainstorm your ideas, and then you look at it and you figure out, okay, this is the one I'm going to do. So you circle it. Then you're done for the day. Then the next day, you work on topic sentences for your very first thing. And so you just break it down piece by piece. And I have absolutely loved having access to those for the essays and paragraphs that he has to write, because it helps so much, because then
It
he can
helps out a
think,
lot.
oh my goodness, yes. So, look forward to those portfolios or those big projects and see if you need help. I mean, Teachers Pay Teachers is a pretty awesome site. I have found so many tools on that. And it helps, as it helps other teachers, because, truth be told, y'all don't get paid enough for dealing with our kids sometimes.
Someone said it. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's a great way to get access to some of those things that are so helpful.
Right.
Different little ways that other teachers have found to help teach certain things. Found a great one for word problems too in math that I'd never even thought of. And I was like, light bulb when I saw this. Yep.
I
So,
love it.
So we want to know, have you ever segmented an assignment, a larger assignment, to help your child get through it, to have little portions that they work on every day? Or do you have any other suggestions than what we gave for tackling large assignments? Go ahead and let us know if you have done that before. And if you'd like to share those ideas and suggestions, we'd love to have them. We've got some other tips, don't we?
We
do. A few more tips.
I do. Some of the other tips are, most lessons are recorded. You can always go back and watch. I know that our district uses Canvas, and we're supposed to put the link in Canvas. We use Microsoft Teams. The recorded lessons stay within the Microsoft Teams chat for 19 days. Nice. So you can always go back and rewatch it. I suggest go back and rewatch it, because if you're a parent that works, you can go back and rewatch it, see what their kid missed, or because, as teachers explain a lot of different things and teach them how to go back. So I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Well, let's go back and go rewatch the video. I call the kids movies all the time. I'm like, all right, guys, we're recording our movie. Here we go. But so that's what we do. And also ask for extensions if necessary. I know a couple kids have reached out to me, Miss K, I'm not going to be able to hit this extension. I'm really overloaded. And I'm so proud of my kids. I got to brag on them really quick. When I say my kids, they're my students, but they're my kids. Yeah. They said, hey, Miss K, we're really getting behind between Wi-Fi and adjusting to this. Do you mind if we take a vote, if we could have a makeup day or like a classwork work day every 2 weeks or every week? Well, they voted for every 2 weeks. So I said, all right, that's fine. I said, but here's the expectation. I said, if you guys end up, I see that you're not doing your work and you're waiting for that makeup day work, it's going to go by. And they're like, no, we're good. They're holding to it. I mean,
wow.
But it gives them the time to, I'm not putting more on them. And then I'm also allowing them to catch up. Hey, Miss K, I'm having help. Do you mind if I share the screen? So it's awesome. Yeah. And that's the extensions. One thing that I just remembered, if you have an IEP, sometimes you can have an accommodation to have extended
time and a half or whatever, extended time. And I had, so they're handling it a little bit differently this year, but previously, if we needed the extension, I had a document that I could upload in place of a portfolio that says you have, and then the teacher would come back and say, okay, you have until this time to finish it. So I would have that extra week. But there were days and stuff I tried to, not have Curtis take it all the time, because we needed to. That's why I started, okay, let me back up and look forward. So we're not like having 3 portfolios due in 1 week. That's just
That's just a lot.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. An essay and 2, a science project and a social studies project, that no, we would never get done. But yeah, if your IEP has it, make sure you use that time, because you're entitled to it.
You are. And then as you were talking, when you were saying how he was getting frustrated with his homework, one that you've already mentioned was calmly talk through the problem if you can, because sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. I'm frustrated and you're so sometimes kids are really wrapped up in their own frustration that they don't realize they've already answered it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so sometimes being the calmer wave or the calmer person
Mm-hmm.
ultimately settles them down. And you can say, hey, remember, like you said, remember, it's not like this, even if you have
Mm-hmm.
to repeat yourself 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But
Or
it's ultimately for the benefit of the child,
yeah.
and they remain calm. And eventually it's going to stick because
Yeah.
by the end of the school year, this is your 4th year. And I know
Mm-hmm.
it is nowhere near as rough as it was when we first started.
Oh no.
No,
No.
no.
We're it's so much better.
We are. And that's just because, you taught him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, okay, I can talk myself through this now, mom.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this. So just
Well, and
remember
that,
to call.
yeah, and sometimes it's do you need a break? And
Right.
just
Right.
give them that break. Let them walk away for a minute and come back. It's okay.
It's okay.
Those breaks are actually part of them learning. It's educational
Right.
because they're learning to figure out how to ask for help and how to
Mm-hmm.
walk away for a second, take a breath, and then, collect themselves so that they can come back and figure it out.
Right.
I mean, how many times do we need it?
A lot.
Yeah.
More than we want to admit.
Yeah.
But the last one is more up your alley. Sensory tools. What are your sensory tools that you
we
use to help them?
we have so sometimes there's various things that I have next to him. I know that a lot of these sensory tools, some people may not have access to anymore because you counted on the school system to have them in the
Right.
special education rooms.
Right.
I have, learned to take on and do some of the things myself. I learned and looked at what was in the OT offices that we went to. And because I can sew, either I did it or I thought of how to do it, and my mom
Right.
might visit and I'll be like, hey, mom, can you? And so she would make something for me. She would help me out. Like, for instance, the body sock. That is something that Curtis absolutely loves. And I was looking at it at the OT office,
Right.
and I kind of had in my head how I wanted to do it. And I thought, well, I'll just look online. And it was super expensive to get a body
Oh.
sock. And so I was able to, with the design, and my mom came, I got I waited until the material was on sale at Joann's, or I had my, my coupon, of course,
Right.
got the supplies for a cheaper price. And then my mom happened to be there, and I said, hey, mom, can you zip up this body sock using this design? And she said, yeah, sure. He loves that thing. Some days he'll
No.
walk around and he'll be in that thing all day long. And we'll tell him, sometimes I will tell him, go get your body sock.
The green monster.
Yes, he's a green monster. It's lime green. I've made a weighted lap blanket for him. I've made
Right.
a weighted blanket for him. And I followed my OT standards. That's very, very important with the weighted items, is to
Blankets.
make sure you got to follow your OT standards. That's OT means occupational therapist. I keep some desk fidgets. Velcro strips can sometimes help.
Yes, because I have kids in the classroom who pick at my name tags, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so I ended up putting Velcro strips last year on their desk. Especially when they get frustrated, they'll just sit there and just like, and you
Right.
can tell. So some of
Mm-hmm.
them were using as frustrations, but it also gave me a clue as a teacher to see where they were at. And some of them like, hey,
Yeah.
let's go walk about. Let's go take a
Yeah.
walk. Meaning we'll just take a walk and you come back in, but when you enter back in these doors, it's gone. So we go,
Yeah.
let's go take a walk about. But Velcro, that's simple, easy. You can go get them at the dollar store. Like you can even do the little circles for like $1 and
There you
just
go.
go sit there and they can just pick at it.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Oh. So, I mean, at home, go ahead, and if you have some of those sensory items, go ahead and make sure they have them there. Those that are not going to be too distracting while they're doing their work, but let them have some of those sensory items. It'll help them. We want to know, what's your favorite sensory calming tool?
Right.
I had several. I did that tag us in a picture at my Spectrum Life on Facebook or Instagram, or on Twitter at my Spectrum Life 1. We'd love to see them. I don't know if you guys saw my video last Wednesday that I did on the bag, and I said I had that timer thing that had oil and water. I said never underestimate the power of just watching the little bubbles. This Sunday, Curtis sat beside me. He had his earphones on because it was too loud for him, and he just sat there with that timer. Watch the timer. But as he was watching, he was listening. I could tell he was listening. So it works. Let them have a couple of those things if they need to do that. So as we wrap up tonight, we want to make sure that you contact us. Please reach out and contact us with any info or questions or topics you might want to discuss. Our email address is info@myspectrumlife.com. That's info@myspectrumlife.com.
Yep.
Or I'll let you take the other ones.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at My Spectrum Life. You can find us at Twitter at My Spectrum Life with the number 1. And if you're watching YouTube, make sure you subscribe and click the link below that says subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes, and if you hit that bell too, you'll be notified when we have a new video up. So make sure and that will be helpful for Wednesday and Friday when we upload our little segments. I'm going to show you how we walk through spreading some of our assignments over a period of time. Mm-hmm. And is yours a surprise?
No, I actually got confirmation.
All right.
So we will be talking with the school's media specialist about maybe some different tips that they can help you with the Wi-Fi or technology or how to submit work. So we'll be interviewing her.
That's great.
On Friday.
Awesome. So make sure you click that bell, subscribe to our channel, click the bell so you know when those videos come up. And well, as we know, with a lot of faith, love, and a whole lot of fidget toys, we're going to make it. Bye.
Bye.